Alrighty, we are officially live. Good to go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Quick and Delish Meal Planning Session. Also, the Meal Planning Workshop. We're here to help you use meal planning to help you with your health goals. And we have none other than Alicia Connor. So, Alicia Connor is a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and chef who is passionate about encouraging lifestyle shifts with a focus on meal planning and simplifying healthy eating. Before we begin, Alicia, how are you doing today?
I'm awesome. How are you, Raphael?
I'm doing awesome. I appreciate you for being on here with our workshop today. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. Or give me a call.
Sounds like your dog's excited too. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. Feel free during the presentation to post any of your questions or comments or statements or ideas like questions that you want answered or things that you're thinking about.
We are here.
Yep.
Ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. You should have control of the slideshow. It should be good to go.
Awesome. Just checking. Cool. Awesome. So here we are. So the topic is meal planning with your health goals in mind. I do meal planning sessions, and my meal planning program is called Quick and Delish Life. I think everyone should live a quick and delish life. Like do some cooking, make healthy meals, get in and out of the kitchen. All right. So the 3 pillars of my meal planning program is starting and building from what you know. So a lot of times when people start doing some cooking or some meal planning, they go online and they look for recipes. But the first step that I think is important is just start with what you already enjoy, because it's more time efficient that way. Because oftentimes after the research online for new recipes, we might run out of steam and time, and then another week passes by. Planning and time management is essential. We have 168 hours per person per week. So how we use this time is important, because we have to have fun and play and socialize and hang out with people, as well as work and eat and do all the things we like to do, exercise, etc. And then ensuring variety of foods. And this includes like variety of colors, textures, and flavors, like different cuisines. We need crunch. One of the reasons why the snack food industry is so popular or successful is because we benefit from crunch in our meals. And so that's when you can add crunchy vegetables there's different ways to add crunch to your meals, but variety is really important. If we have too many soft foods, then we might want to have something crunchy after we have a bunch of soft foods, like salmon and mashed potatoes, and then like overcooked vegetables. So some food for thought. So the next couple slides, I'm going to review balanced meals and snacks. So the components of these and what to consider. So it's basically similar information, but presented in different ways. So you might want to take a picture of these next few slides. I think it's helpful, especially for grocery shopping. So having a combination of plant-based and animal-based proteins per meal and snack, as well as carbohydrates with fiber and energy, non-starchy vegetables, and then healthy fats. So I dig a little bit deeper on these slides about each of those components. So this is the QD meal guide, so Quick and Delish meal guide for balanced meals. So you could take a picture of this slide. It might be helpful for you. So having plant-based and animal-based proteins. So this could be, any of the animal-based proteins, chicken, beef, seafood, any kind of fish you like. And then the plant-based proteins are like the beans, the lentils, the tofu, sugar snap, like snap peas, like English peas, I meant, or any of the like wild rice, quinoa, those kinds of things are plant-based proteins. So having about 20 grams of protein per main meal. Some people, I work with my clients individually to figure out how much protein you really need for your health goals, but this is just kind of like a guesstimate, for the general population, people out there that are listening. So carbohydrates with fiber and energy. This sounds kind of vague, but you might be familiar with like complex carbs. I think the phrase complex carbs isn't helpful because it doesn't define what it is. It just makes it sound like it's complex. It's not clear what it is. So I came up with this term, carbohydrates with fiber and energy, for what to look for. And so these include some plant-based proteins. So having anywhere between 1 to 3 servings per main meal, it's like 3 meals a day. Some people have snacks, and we'll get to that in a few slides. So serving could be like a half of a cup or a cup, depending on what your needs are and what the item is. And so this area is depending on your health goals, like weight loss, or if you're like what your activity is for exercise. And then these include like beans, lentils, whole grains like quinoa, wild rice, farro, barley, as well as fruit. And then the starchy vegetables like the regular old-fashioned potato, sweet potato, corn, cassava, English peas, and winter squash like butternut squash or acorn squash. So it's just good to know what those are. And I'm not including refined carbohydrates here because those are a lot of people know about those, like the white breads or the chips and the snacks, those kinds of refined carbs. I'm just kind of like focusing on what is most important to focus on. If you have questions about refined carbs, I'm happy to answer anything. So non-starchy vegetables, this is where we get to eat the rainbow. So having anywhere between like 1 to 5 servings per main meal. And this could be like a cup of cooked vegetables, like a cup of broccoli, or it could be a salad where if you have like cabbage and shredded carrot or roasted carrot and radishes and different, snap peas or snow peas, maybe some cucumber, tomato. So having a variety of different colors. If you could have 3 different colors of vegetables, like one day a week, that would be really cool. And then having some healthy fats. So this could be the oil you use to cook your meals or like salad dressing. So this could be like avocado that you have on your avocado toast with an egg, or avocado oil that you use for cooking. And then there's nuts and seeds or nut butters like almond butter, peanut butter, cashew butter, whatever. There's a bunch of different types of butters nowadays. And then seed butter like sunflower seed butter has been more popular now since as a helpful tool for folks who are allergic to peanuts. And then, or like sunflower butter. And then there's olive oil. You can use pure olive oil for cooking and then extra virgin olive oil for salad dressing or like a finishing garnish, or olives maybe to add to salads or add some flavor to your meals. So the last slide about balanced meals is just like a pie chart to think about like your meals in general. Some people benefit from seeing things in different ways. And so having about a quarter of your plate protein, so that's about the 20 grams plus or minus depending on your needs, and then the healthy fats, carbohydrates with fiber and energy. And this section of the pie chart can increase or decrease depending on your health goals. And that's how I work with my clients. And then the non-starchy vegetables, that can be if you have a salad, it's easy to get a lot of non-starchy vegetables, but sometimes that section might be kind of skimpy, and that could help. If we had more vegetables, it might help us feel full longer, as long as there's enough protein and carbohydrate there as well. So this could be represented on a plate in a bowl. I think it's easier to eat salads out of a bowl because there's a barrier to help things stay in the dish. Everybody knows what it's like to eat a salad on a plate. Sometimes the food jumps off the plate. And then you could have a cup of soup for a snack in the afternoon, and then a container that you bring a meal with you anywhere you go, like a lunch or you have a picnic somewhere. And it's oftentimes a good idea to bring food with us, especially if we're on the road. So here we go, the topic at hand. So in my meal planning sessions, I review the balanced meal and snacks, because I think if anyone can nail down that aspect, then you're good to go in terms of eating healthy. And then, so meal planning with your health goals. So some things to consider, and I'm going to dig deeper in each of the slides after this. So defining your health goals, like how do you want your body to feel? How do you want to move through your day? What do you want to be able to do? So sometimes there's like a trip, some people are going to Peru and do like a hiking trip or something. So what do you want to literally be able to do in a year or 2 years or 3 years from now? And so that kind of helps dictate your health goals. So assessing your habits and routines that help support you to get to that goal. And it could be helpful to reflect on your bedtime or nighttime routine, your morning routine. The morning routine helps set us up for the day. The nighttime routine or bedtime routine helps us set ourselves up for sleep and then the next day. And then your eating pattern throughout the day. So defining your health goals. So there's this notion, the difference between a system and results. So basically, a lot of times people have some sort of specific goal in mind. Say weight loss is a common one. And so you want a certain result, but in order to get that result, you need a system, you need a plan, you need a roadmap to get there. Though a lot of times people like push the weight loss button, like weight loss, I want to lose weight, and that increases anxiety, and that's not any fun. So like having a roadmap to get there helps reduce anxiety like all the time. So the systems are habits and routines that work in your favor towards the health goal, and then results are the endpoint that require a system. So set yourself up for success by making a realistic and reasonable plan. If we're not reasonable or realistic, like say if we have a busy week this week and we're like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, and last week we didn't go at all, maybe that's not realistic. So I think it's really, really helpful to break something down into a totally doable situation. Even if you went to the gym once for 20 minutes, where last week you didn't go or you didn't go the last 2 weeks, that would be more than the last 2 weeks. So make it doable so that you feel like you can do what you want to do. Everything takes time. Anything good takes time. Okay, so the bedtime routine or nighttime routine, however you want to think about this. It's important to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. If you're not getting this much sleep, there's something to think about. I know sometimes people kind of like hack sleep, but we need to get good quality sleep for our immune system and for recovery, and also recovery from the day, and to help with our stress levels. Well, if we get good sleep and we're like hydrated and we're eating healthy, we're gonna have less chances of getting sick, for the most part. And then cutting down your screen time, like 10 to 20 minutes before going to bed. If you can, I think this is a really good practice. The screen time just helps us stay awake. And some people are more sensitive to this than others. I know this could be a really hard habit, but I think it would be very fruitful to focus on. And then identifying the meals that you're going to eat the next day could be really helpful. A lot of times people fly by the seat of their pants and just like eat, like decide what they're going to eat throughout the day. But we make so many decisions every day. Someone somewhere did some research and figured out that we made 3,500 decisions a day. So the more decisions we make in advance of the day, then we actually have more like bandwidth to get us through the day. A lot of times my clients are exhausted by the end of the day, and then it's very hard to make decisions for health at night. So that's why if we make decisions in advance, then like the smart part of us, we're just not the best version of ourselves at night. We're shutting down, we're winding down, we're kind of like settling out and figuring out what the next day is going to be like. And so set yourself up for success by planning out some meals, and consider assessing your nighttime or bedtime routine. So your morning routine, so start the day hydrating. So have a glass of water. Some people take supplements, they take medications. It's a good time to have a glass of water. Also, if you're a coffee drinker or a tea drinker, if you have a glass of water before you have that beverage, your hot beverage, that would be a great way to, one, kind of use the hot beverage as a reward for having the water, and starting hydrated is really, really helpful. If we're dehydrated, well, one, we might think we're hungry, but we're really thirsty. And then if we're dehydrated, that's like a score point against our immune system. And there's, like our bowel movements are more regular when we're hydrated. And there's like a million different benefits from being hydrated. I know going to the bathroom situation is the counter to hydrating, but like you got to figure it out. It's important. I know it's not easy for everybody. Um, so eat within the first hour. A lot of folks skip meals, skip breakfast. That's a common one to skip. But really, like you don't have to have a big meal. You don't have to have breakfast foods. A lot of people say I don't like breakfast foods, but like you could have chicken soup for breakfast. Like it doesn't matter. And I know somebody out there might be thinking like that's crazy to have chicken soup or whatever for breakfast, but like just have something that's helpful. It could be just something small. It could be like hard-boiled egg and fruit, something super simple that doesn't take a lot of work, or yogurt with some like a homemade cereal that I have a recipe for that actually you'll get from this webinar. Something super simple that's not a big deal. Make it easy, because like pacing your nutrition will help you have the energy you need to get through your days. So set an intention for your day. I think that's a lovely idea. Setting the intention for focus and how you want to feel at the end of the day. There's always going to be challenges, and we can if we start the day saying the day is going to be horrible, what's going to happen is the day is going to be horrible. But if we say today might be full of challenges and I'm going to get through it because I always get through challenging days, and that's a different approach. Or I'm always going to have a good day. I mean, me, myself, I am always like, I'm going to have a good day. I have challenges too, just like all humans. So consider getting some movement in, maybe some gentle stretches, or some people are morning exercisers. There is a lot of research that shows if you get the exercise in earlier in the day, it's more likely to happen. I mean, that's just logical. Like get anything in earlier in the day, it's going to happen. More likely. But a lot of people like now we have longer days of light because it's springtime, and so it's easier to go out walking at night. And if you haven't decided your meals for the day, in the morning would be a great opportunity. And the way I think about meal planning is it's not about cooking all meals all the time, because that's not reasonable in this modern day at all. I think most people would agree with me, but there are people out there that prefer to cook all their food all the time, and good for them or good for you if that's what you do. But like I like to stay in reality, and I'll do meal planning twice a month, and I'll have like 4 different meals in my freezer. I'll empty my freezer, and then by the end of the month, I'll have up to like 7 different meals at any one time after the 2 times of doing some meal planning. So I have variety, but I just, pull something out and then heat it up, and it makes it really easy to eat my own food and eat healthy. So I'm not doing like all day long cooking. I'm just doing very simple meals that are quick and delish. And so then consider reflecting on your morning routine to see if there's any area of improvement. Life is about continuing to become a better person. That's what that's the Kool-Aid that I drink, is continuing to become a better person. I think Rafanila is the same way. So thinking about your eating pattern, how you eat throughout the day. So breakfast is when we break the fast from not eating throughout the day because throughout the night because we were sleeping. And so having something small can be really helpful. I know I already mentioned that, but and I know there's a very small percentage of folks who I've noticed that have said like if they eat something in the morning for breakfast, that ignites the fire of eating throughout the day. So there's a very small percentage of folks that is an experience for, and so there's something to that for sure. But there's also probably something else going on that I could provide some support for. So a morning snack. Some people benefit from having a morning snack. Some people don't. Like a lot of people that exercise in the morning might benefit from having a morning snack. But, it's like when was your breakfast? When is your lunch? And is there enough time there to, have something there that makes sense? And if you're doing like nervous eating or something like that, like go for something that's like low in calorie if that's something, if you're focusing on weight loss or something. But there's always like, sipping on tea or even like something like bone broth if you're open to that. So lunch supports our energy and nutrition needs for that midday opportunity. And we're basically fueling ourselves throughout the day so that we continue to feel good. So not too much, not too little, just right in terms of nutrition and the balance. An afternoon snack, I highly recommend having an afternoon snack. Lunch is usually anywhere between like 11 and 2. And then dinner is usually anywhere between like, I don't know, 5 and 9, depending on who you are and your schedule and everything. And so usually lunch, the gap between lunch and dinner is too big, and it's really important to have some kind of snack. So it could be just like, you know, an apple and peanut butter, or cottage cheese and avocado and a Norwegian crisp bread from Trader Joe's, but something to give you some energy so that when you get to dinner that you're not a monster. And the monster means like emotional, tired, hungry, and like need to eat. Because if you have to cook yourself dinner, or like it's easy to go like pick something up or order DoorDash or whatever when you're really hungry. So again, when we're hungry, tired, or emotional, stressed, those are the times when we're high risk for doing something that's not in favor of our health. And I'm not saying you're going to be perfect all the time, but it's just good to make the decisions in advance. And like that afternoon snack makes it so you have a little bit of space to put something together or make a decision. Again, I really think it's important to have a plan for what we're going to eat before the time, so that we don't have that opportunity. Everybody knows what it feels like to look in the refrigerator and like look for something, and you totally have stuff you could put together, but you're like, I don't see anything. We all know what that looks like, so, or feels like. It's not a good feeling, being hungry. And then after dinner snack, some people benefit from an after dinner snack. It's depending, like you might not need an after dinner snack if your dinner meal was balanced. Enough fiber, enough protein. But some people have like the after a meal. I just met with a client a couple days ago, and she has a strong habit of having dessert after lunch and dinner. And it's just been something she grew up doing. And she's in her 70s now. And so, she was saying, like, why do I do that? And I was like, it sounds like it's a strong habit. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, like, it's a strong habit. And so, are there healthy options that you go for if you're somebody that has dessert? And then could you, and I'm happy to share any ideas for like a no sugar added kind of like baked good kind of situation. But you could have like a date with a nut butter or something, just something that's helpful for closing out the meal, but not a lot of calories. So I have some meal inspiration I wanted to share with you. And Rafael is going to share with you the resources, like the PDF documents. So I love like just super simple meals that are satisfying, as I already mentioned. But so protein salads. So think of the egg salad, the salmon salad. You could buy salmon in like pouches and just make a quick salmon salad with like dill or cilantro and cucumber or celery. And then tuna salad. If you've ever heard of, there's this company called Safe Catch. They're here in California. They're in Sausalito, and they can and put tuna and salmon in different pouches, and they actually test the tuna for mercury, and so it's low mercury tuna, which is really helpful. So that brand is Safe Catch, so you can keep that on hand. And then chickpea salad is like a vegan version of a tuna salad, no animal protein in there. Chicken salad, curry chicken salad with apple, celery, or fennel and whatever herb, something crunchy in there. Tofu no egg salad is just like firm or soft tofu smashed up with flavors. So it's high protein, and then you can add whatever you like into it to make it taste good. And then you can serve any of these things with like a piece of whole grain bread, or maybe some kind of salad or some beans. maybe some lentils or a combination of lentils and beans, or some sweet potatoes and some black beans. I like black beans and sweet potatoes together. You get to eat like Halloween every day, black beans and sweet potatoes, orange and black. And then Norwegian crisp breads. I mentioned these a little bit ago. These are from Trader Joe's, and I really like the gluten-free Norwegian crisp breads. You get like a big cracker that's like the size of a whole grain piece of bread, and then they're crunchy, and there's already some protein in there with seeds, and then you just add stuff to it. I wouldn't necessarily want to eat it plain. It's not that, I mean, it's good, but it's not that good to eat it plain. So I think that's actually helpful, because crackers can be hard to have around because they're like chips or cookies. Hard to have around, eat too many. I'm speaking from experience. So now I'm going to go over the juicy resources. These are some, the juicy resources are basically PDF documents from my meal planning program. So this is meal inspiration. This, the front page here has a recipe for turkey meatballs that are called Thai style turkey meatballs. There's just lime juice in there. You could put the lime zest if you feel like it, some fresh ginger and some garlic, and then you just mix that up, salt, pepper, and then you put them on a sheet pan and you roast them at 375, and they're take like 12 minutes, and you can make them really small so they'll take less time, and so they're really good to have around, and they freeze really well. The next juicy resource is about balancing your meals. So you get to identify and reflect on the meals that you commonly eat. Like, what's the protein? What's the carbohydrate with fiber and energy? What are the non-starchy vegetables? And can I add some more? And then what are the healthy fats? And then this is a super simple DIY meal planning worksheet. So this is actually, there's just 4 sections on this page, and you could use it however you want. You could write down your breakfast ideas, your lunch ideas, your snack ideas, your dinner ideas, or you can write down like your grocery list, use it however you want. But I think it's really helpful. And it's digitally editable, so you could type in it and, continue to edit it and have it on your phone or on your computer and just have it everywhere. And then this resource has a smoothie template in terms of like the components to add to a smoothie, which are balanced. And sometimes a lot of people are adding too much fruit to smoothies. And so I think it's good. There is such thing as too much of anything. And then I have a homemade cereal or granola recipe, which is actually only 4 ingredients. So if you're thinking like, oh my God, making something from scratch, it's just toasted oats with unsweetened coconut, pumpkin seeds, and then cinnamon. And so I'll make that like once every 2 months sometimes when I'm using that. And then I'll just add like 2 tablespoons or a quarter cup or some amount to a smoothie. And then I don't like to drink my meals like the smoothies. I like to eat them with a spoon and like chew food. And so that's why that cereal. And then this is connecting with me. If you wanted to check out my YouTube channel, you can scan the QR code there. And this is my contact information. I have a Facebook group that's public, and then a Facebook group that's private for my meal planning program members. And I would love to meet with anybody that wants some support. I offer a 30-minute free consultation, so I could, you can get to know me, ask some questions, and then we can see if we're a good fit. So my next meal planning session scheduled is May 19th or Saturday, May 20th, and it's 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. And these sessions are $47 for the one-time session. And then I have this awesome 4-workshop meal planning series that's starting April 15th, and it's 4 workshops. So it's April 15th, the 22nd, and then we skip the last Saturday in April because I have a conference I'm attending. And then we pick up again May 6th and then the 13th. And so the 4 workshops are, one is about proteins. The second one is about carbohydrates with fiber and energy. The third one is about non-starchy vegetables. And then the fourth one is about healthy fats, and then bringing all the concepts together about balanced meals and snacks. So I consider this the foundation of building your own meal planning program. I'm happy to answer any questions about that. And my question for you, besides some questions that might have come through, is from the topic, what comes to mind in terms of something to focus on the month ahead, April, the April goodness.
Yes, I have a question, and this may be a selfish question for myself. I may be asking for myself, but you talked about earlier, right, about developing systems for your meal planning, what you can eat in the morning, afternoon, at night. I'm pretty much disciplined in the morning, afternoon, and sometimes in the evening. But when it hits past 12 o'clock, when it hits about past 10 p.m., it's where I start to have that devil on my shoulder, like, hey, what's the get a little snack or something, right? So how about those people that battle those late night cravings? What are some things that they could possibly do, quiet that voice right there that's telling them to avoid getting that snack when they absolutely know they don't need
Yeah, so I think so you ate dinner and it like theoretically you had enough throughout your day
it?
and then you're like, "Oh, I should go get some."
Right.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, can you go for a glass of water? Can you, like, I'm not saying you don't have the snack, but if you don't need it, sometimes we can make an assumption because food is accessible, it's right there, and like we have a craving, right? So the thought, like, oh, I want some chocolate. Oh, I want some. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, let me see if we have some of this, right? And so it's a thought. So if you, I'm not saying you don't need it, but if you like legitimately don't need it and you know that and you're working through this situation, I think it's helpful to think, is there something else I can do, like an activity that would give me the same sort of like um, distraction? Like, what are you looking for at that time? You know, it might seem like it's food, but really maybe you're just looking for something to do.
Right.
And if you're staying up, like saying if you're staying up late and you're actually working on stuff, like using your brain and you're not just like watching TV, you might actually need something
Yeah.
because you're still up doing stuff. But other ideas are like winding down, like, you know, sipping on some kind of tea, that kind, like closing down shop. Like, are you going to sleep or are you staying up? Because
Me.
sometimes,
Oh yeah. Good.
yeah, sometimes the nighttime snack can be like keep us awake when we're like going to sleep.
Good.
But sometimes people need a nighttime snack to fall asleep.
Right. Same
Like
here.
not like right before bed, but like a couple hours before bed. So I think sometimes it's like environmental control also, like what you see
Yeah.
influences, like if you have something in the kitchen that's like just right there or like the cupboard or whatever, that's super easy and convenient. I mean, like the Girl Scout cookie situation, right? Like it's hard.
Understood.
So, part of it is like keep healthy options available. Can you have like an apple with peanut butter or something that's like balanced to help? I also have like a recipe for a chocolate pudding that is, it's Greek yogurt. So Greek yogurt's like a thick pudding texture already. And then add like, if you like chocolate pudding, um, there's a really good unsweetened cocoa powder by the brand Valrhona. It's from Venezuela, and it's like the best cocoa powder. So add like a tablespoon or two of this cocoa powder to like 3/4 cup of Greek yogurt, and you have chocolate pudding. And you can sweeten it with like if you had frozen fruit, like frozen pitted cherries, or even fresh fruit. The frozen fruit's helpful because if you warm it up, like in the microwave, then you have this sauciness from the frozen fruit, and then that can help sweeten the chocolate pudding. So then the Greek yogurt has protein in it, and then you had some fruit, and then the chocolate, it's all chocolatey goodness. It like tastes like really good chocolate pudding. I mean, it might be kind of different for some people, but I
Yeah.
think it's pretty awesome.
That sounds great too. And and what I like most about what you've been presenting today is most people, sometimes people don't have access to this information or don't know where to find it. They may be in a situation where they may have a closet, they may have a cabinet or cabinet full of foods that they really shouldn't eat, and so instead of the not having access to information, because they'll try to starve themselves out. which I don't think that's really a good idea, because if you're starving yourself, really, I mean, how do you have the energy and have the capacity to go on about your day? Especially us as entrepreneurs, we have so much going on throughout the day, and starving ourselves is the last thing that we absolutely need to do. So I appreciate you just sharing this with us, because a lot of this stuff, me personally,
Absolutely. Yeah, I
looks,
think from my
looks
meal planning, the 4 workshop series, that's $147. So I think it's reasonable. And like that's about building your kitchen inventory so you have the things on hand, and it's not like, oh, like fully like stocked to the gills or anything, but like having the things that are helpful to make it so that you pull together some really simple, easy, affordable meals. So because like some of the packaged stuff is helpful and like already prepared, like you buy like frozen brown rice and cooked quinoa in different packages to throw stuff together. But having a stocked inventory makes it so that you have stuff on hand so that you don't have to order out. And obviously, oftentimes ordering out or eating in, order delivered food or whatever, like DoorDash, is more expensive um, than making these simple, totally doable meals.
I have another question for you. I want to throw a scenario at you. So let's say we have a person who may be working a 9 to 5, right, during the day, but they run their business by night, right? They may be running maybe operating. Well, they may run their business by day. I mean, but then have to work a 9 to 5 at night, have to work graveyard. How would a person who is meal planning, trying to get prepared, accomplish the health goals? What are some tips that they can do for those people that actually work at night and may not be able, in their eating habits or routines may be different from someone who's doing running their business by day?
Like they're already doing some meal planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think creating your go-to, like if you, depending on how organized you are with your meal planning, I would create your go-to list. Um, like your bare bones, like busy week list,
Mhm.
and then your like, oh, when I have time to do a little bit more, um, like research or make different types of recipes list, because in any week it can be really busy and like time needs to be like perfect, and you just like any extra time spent on something is just not a good idea,
Right.
because we need downtime within the week, within the day. So create your busy list, your super bare bones. Like that's why I shared like the protein salads, like that's kind of like super simple, like the huevos rancheros, just like 2 eggs with black beans, salsa, and roasted veggies, like, or salad or whatever, super easy stuff. And then create your like a list of snacks and have that list like on the refrigerator, especially for anybody that has kids. Train people to look at the list before opening the refrigerator. I think it's like a common habit to just like open the refrigerator and see what's going on in there, even though nothing's changing. I mean, I remember my mom telling me like nothing's changed. Like, don't look at the refrigerator. When I was growing up, I think it's a common thing. But like the lists make it so it's easy, and you can create this list is also your grocery list. So like, and then if you're freezing your foods, if you label the foods that you have frozen, because oftentimes frozen foods, if you look at the packages of the frozen foods, it looks like it's bad, but it's just frozen. And so I've made the assumption numerous times about like, oh, this must be bad because I can't tell what it is because I didn't label it. And so it's really important to label things because we'll just assume that it's bad. So labeling is super important because the food in the freezer could be good for like 3 months. And so if it's labeled, then you'll know what it is, and then you'll eat it in like, before it goes bad. And then I think another thing to think about is like you cooked your foods, and then the day you cook them, you keep out in like in the refrigerator like 2 or 3 days of fresh foods, and then whatever you're not going to eat the next 2 to 3 days, even if you're going to eat it the fourth day, I would just freeze it on the day that you actually cooked it, because it'll be fresher then, versus like eating it in 4 days, because it's going to start degrading. And like in terms of food safety, food should be fine for 7 days in the refrigerator. But I note I used to teach food safety at San Francisco State and at Laney College, and I think from my experience working as a chef and cook in restaurants, I just noticed, and cooking for myself at home, food is just better within 3 days, and then after that, it's kind of like not as good. And so if we freeze it, then we're retaining that freshness.
Interesting. Okay. Again,
Was that helpful?
yeah, that's very helpful. Yeah, because I used to work nights, so I'm pretty sure there's other, like I said, other business owners right now that's watching this. They're running their business by day, but then they got to take on the graveyard shift, and they want to know how to actually do meal planning. Actually, just have these habits in general set up. So I appreciate you for asking that. I'm just waiting to see.
Nice.
Do we have any more questions? Going once, going twice. Right, yeah, we don't have any more questions. Did you want to add anything, shameless plug of any other, like I said, workshops? You want to talk more about your upcoming series as well that you have coming up?
If anybody has any specific questions or I gave you the registration link, so if you want to share the registration link to the virtual meal planning series, you also have my schedule with me link. So these are the dates for the meal planning series. So registration ends April 14th, so it's just next Saturday is the first workshop, and that's about protein. So it's the benefits of proteins and sources of proteins, and then resources to help you create your meal planning system and your kitchen inventory for proteins. And you get, for all of the workshops, if you can't attend live, you get the recordings. So I think that's helpful because something comes up or whatever, you can't attend live, but you want the information, then you can get it and you get the recordings. And you can always meet with me and ask any questions. I'd be happy to do that. And then, so each of the workshops, like the carbohydrates with fiber and energy, that's about the benefits of them, the purpose, as well as sources. And because it can be confusing, like the plant-based proteins and the carbohydrates, there's so many carbohydrates. And some people are like, I'm staying away from carbohydrates. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're eating vegetables and you're eating these things and they're not bad. And I like to clarify things. And then the non-starchy vegetables, we talk about the sources, the different vegetables, because there's so many more than, just broccoli and bell pepper and celery and carrots. I know cauliflower is super famous now, but and then the benefits of the nutrients from the non-starchy vegetables in terms of like helping bring down blood sugar, blood pressure, etc. And then the last workshop is about, nailing down this whole balanced meal concept. And so I think it's super valuable. I've had all the, meal planning members that have joined my program. I started it in 2020. Everybody continues to pay for the following year. And so it's not a huge group, but it's like a group full of love, and it's a supportive group. So like I do a presentation and then I open up for Q&A and discussion. And so it's a balance of like actually being able to, ask questions about whatever you want to talk about within the spectrum of nutrition, meal planning, health, etc. And then, a topic. So yeah, and then I would love it if anybody wanted to subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's lots of different recipe videos. Some of them are captions set to music, and then some of them are just like me talking, and I kind of do some demonstrations. So I've been told that I'm funny. I don't know if you got that from this talk today.
We appreciate that. Thanks again, Alicia. This was a very great presentation. I want you all to screenshot this. Please get in touch with Alicia. We met up with each other. I want to say probably a few weeks ago. Met through a virtual networking event. Had a one-on-one. Loved her professionalism. As an absolute master of her craft, you could tell how passionate she is when we was talking over the phone about what she brings to the table. And I just thought it was very important to bring this presentation together, workshop together, is because most times now when we're doing these workshops, it's mostly about marketing. So, it's about marketing, running the business, just the day-to-day operations that we need to do in order for us to build a successful business. But a lot of times we don't talk about the health side. So earlier we talked about getting our mental health together, right? Being prepared mentally, having the mindset that we're ready for success and be able to run our business. Well, the next to that is being physically healthy. Our health is our wealth. I would say myself, I've been more intentional about working on my health goals this year And so to be able to have Alicia here today was definitely in alignment, but not just but for myself, but I believe for other notaries that's a part of the Stamping Academy as well. I'm going to take this information. I'm going to apply it because, again, we have so many restaurants and places here that's really not geared to help us, really. And some of the foods that I've, even then, I've had some foods that I've eaten where I wake up in a day where I'm feeling very energized and ready to attack. But soon as lunch come around, I may be eating something that's not as healthy. What if it's some spare ribs or something like that? And then I'm done eating, my energy is impacted throughout the day. And it's like, man, I don't want to do nothing else. Why do I feel that way? Well, it's because what we're putting into our bodies, right? So we're not intaking those foods that you have listed, whether it's salad, fruit, drinking more water, staying away from juice, staying away from the sugar, just cutting the sugar off altogether, and then finding better alternatives. I feel like that is very impactful to our performance and help us go in a positive direction. So I say that to say, being long-winded. Thank you, Alicia. This was a great
Beautiful.
presentation. Yeah, this was a great presentation. I hope this is not the last time you're on here again. We did
I'll
have
be
some.
back. I'll be back.
Thank you. We did have some hiccups initially. As my audience knows, my dog Paris, she always happens to make special appearances when you least expect her. But I appreciate you all but I do appreciate you all for being patient with us throughout this process. And again, look at the bottom of the screen, the ticker. Please get in contact with Alicia if you're or struggling right now. This, struggling with trying to help reach your health goals. Don't try to go at this by yourself. Don't try to go at this by yourself. Get with the professionals. Get with someone that's going to help you get there, and that's going to have someone that's going to help you, help hold you accountable as well. We all need that one. So please get in contact with Alicia. Please get in contact with us, with me as well. You can contact me at info@thestampingacademy.com. Alicia was kind enough to give us free resources that we can use to help us with our meal planning, the balanced meal worksheet, and she also has a strategy session that you can get in contact with her as well to help you get on track. This concludes our webinar. Thank you again for being in attendance. The replay will be available on YouTube, so please make sure you subscribe to this channel and make sure you like our channel as well. Thank you again, Alicia. Until next time.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Raphael. To be continued.